So you said a lot of things, and we want to learn something for you.
Yeah.
So about all of that, which one are your suggestions for the guys that want to start and become a professional wrestler, especially in a country like Italy, where like in all Europe, wrestling is not like in America. So it's kind of harder here. So
yeah.
If you have to say a couple of suggestions for get to that,
Sure.
Which one would you say?
I actually, this reminds me, I tweeted something last week on this subject, and if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at the Cris Silvio. If you're not willing to risk everything, and I do mean everything, home, job, family, wife, girlfriend, whatever it is, if you're not willing to risk absolutely everything in your life to chase the dream of becoming a well-known professional wrestler, I would suggest getting into a different line of work. It's not for everyone, and it's not an easy profession. So my best advice to you is you have to live and breathe this stuff. Wrestling it's not a hobby. It's not like going and playing cards with your buddy on a Saturday night or shooting pool or billiards. You have to wake up in the morning thinking about wrestling, go to sleep thinking about wrestling. You have to train in as many places as you can, be a sponge, learn from absolutely everyone. Just think about if you're going to medical school or something like that. If you want to be a doctor, you don't just show up and say, hey, I'm smart, I can be a doctor. It's not that easy. You have to get through high school, then you have to get through 4 years of college, then you have to go through whatever your 8 years are in medical school, whatever the requirements are. Wrestling's the same way. You have to get out there and learn everything you can. What I see hurt a lot of people from reaching their true potential is that they don't have that drive to keep learning and keep improving. You'll run into a lot of people that get a little experience under them and they say, hey, I'm good to go. Which is why it's so cool to be at a place like this, because I know, everybody affiliated with this company, affiliated with the wrestling school, truly cares about improving and getting better. And that's the reason why, you guys are sharing the success that you are in Italy right now. So my best advice to you is if you can't commit yourself 1,000%, not 100%, not 200, 1,000%. Try something else, man. There's nothing wrong with being a fan. A lot of people love wrestling, and they think the only way to enjoy it when they get older is to be in it. It's not the case. It's not for everyone. If you can't commit yourself all the way to it, just nothing wrong with buying a ticket, seeing shows, maybe go, you can help out around the locker room. There's a lot of stuff you can do. But as far as being a wrestler, it's something your life has to revolve around wrestling, and you're going to lose a lot. I've lost jobs, I've lost girlfriends. I remember times when, I had to sell my guitars, my amplifier to make rent. I remember stretching $10 to have enough groceries for the week. It's a hard road, but when you put the work in, you enjoy it that much more. If I were to just give this to you, you're not going to appreciate it. But when you have to bust your ass, and cry and rant and rave and sweat and bleed and all that cliche stuff, and you finally get it, you feel like it's something that you really earned.
And speaking about that, can you tell us when this happened to you? Because everyone that start to be a wrestler, a professional wrestler, everyone that dream about it, one thing they dream of is that moment when you get in contact with WWE. Yeah. So it happened to you already. Can you tell us about that? And also, I would like to ask you, since you've been also on the other side of the bridge, you've been in Impact as well.
Sure.
Can you tell us the differences that you found between Impact and NXT?
Yeah. As far as getting into contact with WWE, I guess from maybe an advice kind of standpoint, you have to get yourself out there, put yourself out there, wrestle in as many places as possible and make them take notice of you. There's a lot of good guys out there and a lot of really great wrestlers, but if nobody knows who you are and they can't see your work, it's going to be hard for you to make it somewhere. I think a lot of guys have this preconceived notion that just one day magically a scout's going to appear out of the sky and say, "You're our next superstar," but that's not how it works. How did I get noticed? I put in the work, man. I did a few tryouts at OVW years and years ago, I think 2010, 11, 12. I worked quite a bit with Ring of Honor through about the end of 2010 through 2012. Was able to do quite a few shows with them. I was consistent. I put in the work, I kept going, I didn't quit, I didn't take no for an answer. Then you start building up your popularity, building up a fan base, stuff like that. They kind of take notice of you, and one day I just got a call that they would like me to come out to television, and since then I've maintained a nice working relationship with them, and good hospitality, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Is there a good atmosphere? Because it's a dream place, and you've actually been there. What can you breathe there? Like, you know what I mean?
A lot of people are terrified of stuff like that, especially indie wrestlers. They're terrified to walk into a WWE environment or Impact or Ring of Honor. And even like if you're on a small show, like let's say you're at an indie show in front of 200 people and like a big name star is booked on the card or something like that, people are very hesitant to talk to him and things like that. I'm not one of those people. When I was younger, I was. But it's a job. It's like anything else. You can't be starstruck. You can't act like you don't belong. If I feel like I don't belong, I'm in a situation like I go to WWE or wherever else, and I feel like I need to be like this, that's not what they want. They don't want somebody on their television screen that can't communicate. You show up, you act like a professional, you speak respectfully, you get along with everyone, you do your job to the best of your abilities, which is something I learned, from Rip Rogers along the way. It can be intimidating, it's a very competitive environment. I mean, you got one company that pretty much every wrestler in the world aspires to be at. So, yeah, in a sense, it can be intimidating, but you have to keep your cool. You got to remain professional. Because if you're not confident out there, they're not going to put you on their television show. So you got to kind of find the balance between that.
Yeah. What about Impact? Like, do you find it similar? Like the company?
Impact was real relaxed, man. I knew a lot of the guys, that I'd worked with over the years. I knew a pretty good amount of guys at Impact. It's a very chilled environment. Like, I think unfortunately Impact gets a bad rap a lot of times because, as we all know, there's been quite a few changes in that company over the last few years. But I think they get kind of an unfair rap. They've got a lot of really, really good talent there. And all the shows that I've done there, they were timed perfectly. Everything was organized. Everything's provided for you. They take great care of you. To be honest, I didn't really see any hitches in the operation. I thought everything ran smooth, ran great. People are approachable. Everybody seems to kind of enjoy what they're doing. So you might have heard a few, things here and there about Impact, but from my experiences, it was cool, man. It was all good vibes.
Yeah, I mean, we heard those things because if you think of some years ago, like Impact was great. Like there were like AJ Styles, like Samoa Joe, lots of guys that now are on the top of the hill. They were there. So like people is asking like why, what happened?
Money.
Yeah.
Well, they had a lot. Then. They had a lot of money that they could throw around. I think right now they're really trying to focus on making it a profitable business, which is the goal of any business. So there was a time when you're right. They had a lot of big name, balls bouncing around back there. Had a lot of big name, high priced talent that were really good, some of the best talent in the world. And they still have some of the best talent in the world, but I think maybe why you don't see the volume of those type of guys, the Joes, AJs, James Storm, Sting, Nash, all those guys, just financially, man. I think they're trying to kind of rebrand the company a bit and cut costs where they can and turn a profit. Yeah, it did. And that's a very good question. As far as working with Sabu, that.